So any questions from previous session? So you theoretically understand that how the load balancer works. Now let's go back and create the load balancer and we'll test it how it is working.
For load balancer, any VMs given, sir?
2000 VMs, same.
The 2000 is not performance.
Fine. But each and every machine cost again. So 2000 VMs only load balancer but again it's a huge cost. So in the next coming classes we'll see how to reduce the cost. So load balancer is mandatory, but we need to think about for the as customer perspective how to reduce the cost. Okay.
In Azure, Azure cost.
ఏం కాస్ట్
ఇప్పుడు ఒక కొత్త క్లయింట్ వచ్చాడు, ఆ క్లయింట్కి మీరు ఏ విధంగా కస్టమైజ్ చేస్తారు, ఏ విధంగా అకౌంట్స్ చేస్తారు, బిల్లింగ్ ఎట్లా రెడ్యూస్ చేస్తారు, వేరే కంపెనీ వాళ్ళకి మీరు ఎట్లా రెడ్యూస్ చేస్తారు. ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 500 సర్వర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, 500 VMs ఉన్నాయి, ఇవన్నీ ఎట్లా కస్టమైజ్ చేస్తారు.
We have to ask whether those Windows or Linux first. Okay, so let me create availability set. Have all the running it. That technology regular.
Yes, especially about 300.
Science. Choose Windows 2016. First, let us create the virtual machines and put these VMs in the before load balance, behind load balance. We'll create the VMs and we'll put all this virtual machine behind the load balance. So as of now, these are all the individual machines. Okay.
Availability sets key దేనికి దానికి సంబంధం లేదు సార్.
దేనికి
అవైలబిలిటీ సెట్స్ కి ప్రైమరీ స్టోరేజ్ కి
no, that is different. We have different options for high availability.
Azure Data Factory కి ఈ మిషన్స్ ఎలా లింక్ చేస్తాం వాళ్ళు ఐఏఎస్ ఉన్నాయి సార్ Azure Data ఫ్యాక్టరీలోకి ఈ VM డేటా లింక్ ఇస్తారు
So I am creating two virtual machines with the same availability set. If you see that, okay, fault domain 0, update domain 0. Runtime integration అనేది కాన్సెప్ట్ ఉంటుంది. Runtime integration తో SSRS machines concurrency using ADF connect. Runtime integration. So once you connect properly all these, and if ETL developer is there, then you'll do the ETL development. Once the data is moved to the cloud, until that is your job completed to move data on premises to Azure Data Lake or Azure Storage. That is my job. Okay. For runtime integration, you need on-premises server information. But couple of customers doesn't agree with it. So అలాంటప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తారంటే again we'll configure the GitHub with the ADF. Different ways ఉంటాయి. That's completely depends on the customer. కొంతమంది యూజర్ నేమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఇస్తారు on-premises SQL server. కొంతమంది customers don't do it. So in that scenario, you do integrate GitHub or any source code management system with the ADF. ఆ source code నుంచి కోడ్ తీసుకొని రన్ చేస్తాం. అది ఈ కోర్సులో కవర్ అవ్వదు. అది ప్యూర్ ఈటీఎల్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. కావాలంటే ఒక సండే కూర్చొని చెప్పచ్చు అన్నమాట. డేటా లేక డేటా ఫ్యాక్టరీ ఒక 1 day అయిపోతుంది.
వాళ్ళు ఏమన్నారు సార్ కనెక్షన్స్ అడిగారు.
If you go with this infra and DevOps side, అవి రావు ఎవరికి. అలాగడానికి కూడా వచ్చింది. మేబీ రియల్ సినారియోస్లో ఎవరైనా ఆల్రెడీ వర్క్ చేసి ఉంటే దే విల్ ఆస్క్ ఎల్స్. It's completely data science వెళ్ళిపోతున్నారు. మీ సీక్వల్ డిబి ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ పెట్టారు కాబట్టి మీ కోర్ అదే కాబట్టి మిమ్మల్ని అడిగింది. మీకు కాబట్టి నేను చెప్తాను. ఒక 1.5 hour సెషన్ తీసుకోవచ్చు ఐడియాస్ మీద. అదే మీరు సోలో దాన్ని కన్వర్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. సో హ్యావింగ్ బీయింగ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ 12 years working with infra at the same time. Even if you talk about SQL Server and clusterization and everything, the same concept applies. Now, yes, we have virtual machines. Now let's go for load balancer. This is the load balancer. Let's go for load balancer. Then say and. Now we have virtual machines, right? So we'll do one thing before going to the load balancer. Let me configure one dummy application. So for the testing purpose, I am creating sample application. To host my application, what is the mandatory thing? IAS. This is my VM.
Sample applications Google లో దొరుకుతాయి.
అది అప్లికేషన్ డెవలప్స్ source code దొరుకుతుంది. Using the source code, how do you build it and thin websites. Okay, go to add rows and features. Next, you could see web server IAS. Just enable it. do it for the both the VMs. Okay, enable IIS for the both the virtual machines. If it is a Windows, it is IIS. If it is a Linux, it's Apache. Okay, both are the web servers. Web servers are used to host your application.
Application servers దీని with రెండు యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు యూనిక్స్ ఓకే లినక్స్ with application server
Application server అంటే ఏంటి? Very simply you are managing the code with that. Apache and
WebLogic server కూడా యూజ్ చేస్తారు
WebLogic సో చాలా మంది NGINX వాడతారు to host your application for the reverse parts at the same. Let's do it for
గేట్వేకి లోడ్ బ్యాలెన్సర్ అప్లికేషన్కి ఇస్తాము సార్ సర్వర్కి ఇస్తాము VMకి ఇస్తాము
సర్వర్కి ఇస్తాం.
Then when you are installing more application,
సో అప్లికేషన్కి టెస్ట్ చేస్తాం. We are distributing the load to your VM for the application. So directly there are other load balancers directly can associate with the application itself. That also possible. There is a reason Azure this load balancer only works on layer 4 transport level. So there are other applications, only purely application load balancer that goes over layer 7. That is the application layer.
the fourth network
Transport level. So now we have done with the installation. Go to the browser.
search లో IBM
నా machine
అదే కింద డౌన్
very slow. Okay, how do you check that? Using the localhost. This is our web server which is installed. Now, what we have to do for our testing purpose, just okay. So just go to C folder where you can see the your web server. See, by defaultly you will see the two folders. One is operating system and another one is the temporary storage. So Microsoft does not recommend to use this folder to store any data. Why? Because this is only temporary storage. So for the temporary storage is used for the page logs purpose. I mean storing the logs and storing the pages information. All these kind of things we will use this temporary storage. We do not recommend to store any SQL data or application data in that. So if something goes wrong, I mean to say virtual machine reboots or virtual machine fails, all the data subject to be lost. Okay, that could be the why this temporary storage is not associated with any storage or premium disk. Okay, so just go to C folder. There you can see iNetwork. Once you install this IS, you could see www.root. This is the one. This is the one, right? So what I can do for the identification purpose, I'll say VM01 webmail 01. Okay. So if you do that, you can see that you can identify using this web one. Okay, Now go back to the another VM. Installation is done. Do the same. Root. Again, this is the virtual machine. Go back to. So in real time, application will be the same, but we never know that, right? So that could be the reason. It's to identify very simple where the traffic is going. I am doing this. Okay. Now go back to the load balancer. Now just configure these virtual machines under the load balancer. Let's go to load balancer. So now VMs and applications both are ready. Now just go select the resource group. Okay. What is the name? LCB load balance. Okay. So how many types of load balancers we have? Two types. Internal and public. So what is the difference between it? Difference in the public in the sense the traffic which is coming from the public IP to distributed into the multiple VMs. Whereas coming to the internal load balancer is used to distribute the load between your machines under the VNet using the private IPs. Okay. Now as of now I am doing the public. So what is the what is the SKU unit? So here the SKU is nothing but basic is it does not support more than 10,000 instances. If you would like to associate more virtual machines than this, we'll go for the standard. If you say standard, it will be allowed the again premium storage for the better high availability of your machines. Okay, so when you are associated with your load balancer with the premium disk of the virtual machines for the high availability, so we do use standard. So as of now I am going with the basic one. Okay, so what is your public IP? What is the public IP of your load balancer? What is the public IP of the load balancer? So if you remember, here you have to understand properly. Let's go to virtual machines. So let's go to Windows VM1. What is the public IP address of the Windows VM1? 238.158. Okay. So let me create one public IP for load balancer. Will be public IP. Okay. SKU is a basic assignment dynamically or static. That is a public IP. Public IP is static. It never change. Even though your virtual machine, so even the load balancer repeats or deletes again, it will be remain the same IP address. Okay. Whether you is using IP6, no. I don't need tags.
Static dynamic option ఎందుకు ఇచ్చారు?
Dynamic, once you reboot your load balancer, the IP will be changed. Yes. Hello, not a problem. In the real time, the public IP is always static. In the real time, all the public IP is always static. Why? Because let's assume that you have associated with this load balancer with your application. If your load balancer reboots or something goes wrong, if the public IP changes, the end user will face the issue. He cannot able to access it. So that could be the reason the load balancer will be the load balance. Sorry, public IP I always static. That is the best practice. You do it. So now my load balancer is available. This is my load balancer. What is the public IP of my load balancer is? This is the public IP. Front-end IP. This is the public load balancer. So load balancer IP address. Now, what is my requirement? I have to add. I have to push my VM set to the load behind the load balancer. Now, just go to the backend pools. What are the backend pools? The backend pool is nothing but where the traffic should be distributed. My traffic should be distributed into the virtual machines, right? Just go back to the VMs. Add. See, as of now, I don't have any virtual machines. So you are distributing the load to your applications using the VMs, which is hosted on a virtual machine. So that could be the reason we are adding the virtual machines rather than applications. Just add. So what is the name of your backend pool? LCP backend. So where the virtual machines, what is the IPs associated with that VMs? This is the VNet. So here the load balancer can be, the virtual machines can be, the backend pools in the different ways. It will be individual virtual machine, it might be a availability set, it could be scale set. So any which way we are not yet done with the scale set. So then go with the virtual machine. So then what is your VM? What is the name of your VM? Windows 0. What is the IP address? It only takes the private IP address. Okay. Again, goes to that's it. Just say add. So I will tell you what is the virtual machine scale sets in the later classes. Okay, as of now, just use. Earlier we have 4 options. What are the 4 options you could see? Unassociated, availability set, and virtual machine scale set and virtual machines. So what are the applications and also virtual machines associated with the load balancer? All that, sorry, also availability set, all the availability set virtual machines will be displayed here. Very recently that option has been deleted. Just you can add your virtual machines individually. What are the same applications running? So earlier around is very simple. We have availability set. Availability set flow, just we have all the virtual machines, right? So for the using the fault domain and update domain, duplicate machines all available. So once you associated with this availability set your virtual machines, by defaultly all the traffic has been distributed to all the availability set VMs, whether fault domain and update VMs. Now that option has been deleted. Now individually we are adding the machines. Just say add.
First one availability set వేరే ఉండొచ్చు ఇప్పుడు ఇది కూడా
వేరే ఆప్షన్ now ఇప్పుడు availability set option లేదు, just we can add n number of VMs. If you attach, if you select the availability set, we can only see the virtual machines which is under the particular availability set. So now your virtual machines are deploying into the behind the load balancer. See what happened now? Em change in ikkada? There is no your public IP. That is a 238.15. See what you can see? Load balancer public IP. Mean to say the traffic which is coming from this load balancer public IP, it is associating with that and going to your application. So if you go to the networking, there you can see two public IP address. One is for load balancer, another one is, see, this is your VM public IP. Got it? I mean to say the traffic which is coming to your application to this virtual machine, that is coming from the load balancer public IP, not this public IP of your VM. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఎనీ కన్ఫ్యూజన్ హియర్?
ఇప్పుడు మనం రిమోట్ డెస్క్టాప్ మనం కనెక్ట్ కాలేదు సార్,
అవ్వచ్చు
ఈ ఐపీతో
వెళ్తారు,
బట్ రియల్ టైంలో అది డిజేబుల్
గా ఉంటుంది. సో ఫర్ దట్ you have different options. I will tell you once it is done. Okay, now you understand it, right? So the traffic now which is coming to your applications from public IP of load balancer, not the Azure virtual machine load balancer, not VM IP. See, you have two load balancers. So two VMs under the backend port. Okay. Now coming to the health pro. So what do you mean by the health pro? So as part of round robin, as you said, it need to wait and check each and every machine request. Let's assume that the request coming to the particular virtual machine, due to some issue, this virtual machine is not available. It should wait for 10 seconds or 5 seconds. Then it is not allowed, then the same traffic should go to the another available virtual machine. Else if you don't give this health probe, this particular request continuously hitting this virtual machine only. So to avoid that, we can configure the health probe. For the 10 seconds, it will wait for the 10 seconds. If the request is not available, then it will go to the another available virtual.
Real time length is
10 seconds. That is the maximum.
Minimum
5 seconds. Maximum 30 seconds ఉంటుంది. So, but it's completely, మేమైతే 10 seconds ఇచ్చాం. It will wait the 10 seconds, then it will go to the another VM. LCP, health probe. Okay. The protocol, what is the protocol? TCP again. What is the port? So in our case, what is the local host port number? 80 default. So that is I have given 80. In a real time, you have to change this port number here. So let's assume that we have multiple applications in the same VM. Then you have to change the port numbers. Changes. Same public IP ఉంటుంది for the two virtual machines. How the virtual machines, how the IP know that which should be proper application based on the port only. Okay, in my case, my port number is 80.
So one application on 80 is good.
One application default 80 తీసుకోవచ్చు, then you need to change into the local host that time. Okay. So now what is the interval? So how many seconds? Continuously after 5 seconds, hitting first, it will hit that, it will wait for the size 5 seconds. Again it will hit after 5 seconds. How many unhealthy thresholds? How many times it should hit? Maximum 2. In the duration of every 5 seconds. It will hit every 5 seconds, it will hit 2 times. If it is the request is not allowed, then it going to the second virtual machine. That is the health probe. 10 seconds.
Second one?
2 and 3.
For 20 seconds wait just.
Okay, so now it is updating with your health probe. Now we need to configure your load balancer rules with the backend pool under the configuration. Even though if you are a DevOps guy, you have to do this. Who is managing all the applications? They have to do all this load balancer configuration. We will see different type of a load balancer, whether it is a layer 4 or layer 7. That is a different matter. You have to configure such a way to distribute the load into VM and the applications.
Third-party balancers.
Yes, NGINX. There are n number of third-party load balancers. Among those, the famous one is the NGINX. It's almost a reverse proxy also. Next class lo sir, మొత్తం మీకు explain. Okay, the health probe has created. Now let's go back to load balancer rules. Now here you need to add your load balancer to your health probe and backend tools. So anyone has any idea about sticky session? Sticky session or non-sticky session? Idea on sticky session. Sticky session or non-sticky session. Else session persistence. Any idea about this? You could see this on a daily basis. In real life lo daily చూస్తారు కదా. Okay, so have you ever faced anything? So you have logged into any one of the application, whether it may be Flipkart or Amazon. So once you go, actually you have decided to buy on a mobile. You search for all the mobiles, you choose the better mobile, and all of a sudden your power lost, all of a sudden your internet goes off, something problem. Again you have logged into that. It directly take you to the same page. If you remember, I think everyone faced the same scenario.
Mozilla also same.
Everything is fine. All applications nowadays works with us per session person. What is it? అది డైరెక్ట్ మిమ్మల్ని ఎలా తీసుకెళ్తుంది అక్కడికి? Redirect is different. So how does that machine knows that?
Even YouTube కూడా ఉంది సార్, మనం సగం సినిమా చేసి క్లోజ్ చేస్తే మళ్ళీ అది కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది నెక్స్ట్ టైం.
That is the session persistence. It means it will store your session based on your user, based on your IP. What is the advantage of it? You can increase the performance of your application. Obviously you can increase the performance of your application. See if it is a very important. Public key. If it is a sticky session, all the traffic comes to one machine only. The particular traffic, how you log into your application, Amazon or Flipkart, using your user. It will register your user every time. Whenever you log into that application using that particular user, it's directly take you to the particular virtual machine only. So if you are reducing putting the burden on that particular load balancer to get that particular traffic. So based on this user, obviously directly that goes to the particular session which is already saved when you log into the previously. Getting it or not? So if this is called as a sticky session. When you say the non-sticky, every time it goes and check into the multiple virtual machines based on your health probe and it will be distributed. That's it, very simple.
Sticky session.
The sticky session is nothing but it is have the what I can say in a SQL server. People if coming from the database, there is a tables called session tables. What is the session tables? Make idea on that.
Temporary tables.
Temporary tables are different. Session tables are different. Session tables are used to store all the user information who is logged into your application. So it is a kind of a buffer table. It will store all the user information which is used for the session persistence. Okay, what will be happen whenever you try to log into your application using your ID or IP address, it will directly take you to the same virtual machine or same application every time. Okay, by doing this, you can increase the performance of your application. అది డిఫాల్ట్ గా ఏం చేస్తుంది ఓకే సేమ్ యూజర్ వచ్చాడు డైరెక్ట్లీ టేక్ టు ద సేమ్ ఎందుకంటే ఆల్రెడీ యూ హ్యావ్ క్రియేటెడ్ వన్ పాత్ ద ట్రాఫిక్ గోయింగ్ టు ద సేమ్ పాత్ ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ ఓకే దట్ ఈస్ ద స్టికీ సెషన్ ఆర్ సెషన్ పర్సిస్టెన్స్ ఇన్ Azure సెషన్ పర్సిస్టెన్స్ క్యాన్ బి డన్ ఇన్ 2 ways ఇది అప్లికేషన్ లెవెల్లో చేస్తారు ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ SQL సర్వర్ ఆర్ ఎనీ DB ఆర్ Oracle. There is a table called session tables. Session tables ante enti very simple. The data which is available only that particular session. Once that you logged out or logged in, again the session data will be erased. That could be the reason I used to say only buffer storage.
Current transactions will be stored.
Exactly. That's it. Once you logged out, the session will be erased. Session and manam derni antamu the period which is from login and log out, the between the period is called as a session. So once you logged out, your data will be erased. Clear? So any DB or SQL Server or Oracle, Redis cache. Using these two, you can enable the session persistence. But why does this session persistence related to your application? So related to your load balancer, not application. Session persistence ki load balancer ki enti sambandham? Obviously, when you are using the health probe, you have to increase the performance of your application which is running in the behind the load balancer. This session persistence will be directly routed to traffic to the particular virtual machines. Very simple. Clear? Any confusion?
ఇప్పుడు స్టిక్కీ సెషన్ చేయాలి అంటే మనం సెషన్ ఫస్ట్
ఉండాలి. yes. If it doesn't, if sticky session లేదనుకోండి, what you have to do? One request goes to your one user, another request goes to another VM. Like if you already have the session persistence, it will directly go to the particular virtual machine. It will check చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. Why? Because మీ path already అక్కడ ఉంది. There is a path directly, so it will directly hit that VM, so that you can increase the performance of your request. That is called a session persistence or sticky session అంటారు.
Non-sticky means it will be
again ఇది ఫస్ట్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ లాగానే ట్రీట్ చేస్తారు. ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ. సో సెషన్ పర్సిస్టెన్స్ వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, ఆటోమేటిక్ గా దెర్ ఇస్ ఎ పాత్. ఇప్పుడు మీరు వెరీ సింపుల్, మీరు రియల్ టైమ్ లోనే తీసుకోండి. లెట్స్ అజ్యూమ్ దట్ సెషన్ పర్సిస్టెన్స్ యాజ్ ఏ గూగుల్ మ్యాప్. గూగుల్ మ్యాప్ ఏం చెప్తుంది, జస్ట్ గో ఇలా మీరు రైట్ తీసుకుని లెఫ్ట్ తీసుకుని అంటారు. సో ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ నో ఇట్, మీరేం చేయాలి, యూ హ్యావ్ టు చెక్ యువర్ ఓన్ పాత్. మీరు గూగుల్ మ్యాప్స్ ఉంటే డైరెక్ట్ గా వెళ్ళిపోతారు, ఇది అడిగి వెళ్తే లేట్ అవుతుంది. సో గూగుల్ మ్యాప్స్ విల్ హెల్ప్ యూ టు డైరెక్ట్లీ రీచ్ ద డెస్టినేషన్, which is just like a session persistence. Very simple. If you talk in a layman term. Okay, the health probe is updated. Just go to the load balancer rule. Just add your rules. What are the rules? Just now you could see here LCP rules. What is your front end IP address? That is the load balancer front end. Okay, protocol is TCP. Our port is 80. What is the backend pool? LCP backend pool. What is the health probe? LCP health probe. This is the session persistence. So as of now, we don't have any session persistence. If you have that, whether you want to use the client IP address, I just told that either you can use the session for the session persistence, you can use your IP address or your username and password. Based on the user, it will understand that hey, she is the particular same user. It will be directly go to the particular request. So as of now,
two options ఉన్నాయి,
port and public IP address both. Protocol and IP, client IP. So what is the ideal timeout for your request? I say I get 4 seconds. Just so floating IP addresses are, it will directly return to the same particular request IP address to the end user. Okay. See, we recommended using this feature only for configuring SQL always on. Clustering. Okay, just we don't need to floating as of now. Why? Because we are not associated with this for SQL, this for application. This okay. Floating ante em ledamma, oka IP address nunchi traffic vastadi, that will be distributed to the another IP addresses using the private IP addresses, which is used for internal load balancer. Now we are doing the internet, I mean public load balancer. That could be the reason we don't need the floating IP. Very simple. Done, right? Let it be update, then we will check. Done, right? Now okay, everything is ready. Now I would like to test. How do you test? Yes, select the public IP address of your load balancer. Now run it.
Whether do you get your request or not?
దానికి ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలో తెలియట్లేదు. Why? What is the port number? That is the port number. Now what is the problem? Those firewall is turned on. Okay, still have issue. What is that? Why? Because go back to all the VMs. We have to enable the port at VM level, right? Let's go to networking.
80.
I have to add 80. What is that? HTTP 80. I have to do it for the another virtual machine. Okay. Added port 80. Then anything left to do? So we turn off the firewall, we allowed the ports. Anything else? Where the traffic is going? VM1. Okay. Now what I do?
Turn off.
I'm turning off this virtual machine. So now the traffic should go to, what is the duration?
5 seconds.
10 seconds. After 10 seconds, the traffic should go to VM2.
20 seconds first. 2 times 10
No,
seconds.
I had given 5 seconds only. It's not shut down. Still it is. Okay, VM is started.
Same port.
Same port ఇచ్చినా నాకు ట్రాఫిక్ డైవర్ట్ అవ్వాలి కదా.
ఫస్ట్ VM1 వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత 10 seconds తర్వాత
VM2 కాదు. సో VM1 ఇప్పుడు డౌన్ లో ఉంది. Obviously the traffic should reach to VM2. అది బఫర్ లో ఉంది.
అన్ని VMs లో ఒకటి port అని
పోర్ట్ VM కు ఉన్నదమ్మా. ఓన్లీ సర్వీస్ ఉంటుంది. సో నౌ ద టాపిక్ ఉంటుంది VM. సో ఇలాగ మీరు ఎన్ని VMs యాడ్ చేసుకుంటే అయినా వెళ్ళచ్చు. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈస్ హౌ ద లోడ్ బ్యాలెన్సర్ విల్ వర్క్స్. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చేస్తారంటే, నాకు I did it for only one application, but I am expecting you to do the multiple VMs. What you have to do, for your practice,
4 VMs చేయొచ్చు కదా సార్, 1 CPU.
deploy 2 applications and add them behind the load balancer and test it. I would like to route the traffic to the particular machine, particular application only. Getting it or not? Take the 2 VMs, deploy the same two applications in the both the virtual machines. When I try to hit my application, my traffic should go to the particular application only. There should not be overlap. Getting it or not? అర్థమైందా? కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉందా? Let's take an assume it this is your VM. Okay, web 1, web 2, two different applications altogether. ఇలాగా 2 VMs చేయండి, VM1 and VM2 same, and put that same 2 VMs same in the load balancer. ఇప్పుడు మన 2 VMs నేను ఎలా పెట్టానో అలానే పెట్టండి. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే మీకు వెరీ జస్ట్ లిటిల్ బిట్ కాంప్లికేటెడ్. ఇప్పుడు నా సేమ్ VM, నా 2 virtual machines లో సేమ్ అప్లికేషన్ ఉంది, ఒక్కొక్క అప్లికేషన్ ఉంది. నా ఐ వాంట్ టు డిప్లాయ్ 2. మీరు ఎలాగా చేయండి, 2 ports
అప్లికేషన్ ఇందులో
వెరీ సింపుల్,
ఇంకొక ఫోల్డర్
అంతే. సో ఇంకో ఫోల్డర్ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఇంకో యాప్ డిప్లాయ్ చేయండి, అంతే. www రూట్ లో సో ఇక్కడ www రూట్ లో ఇంకో ఫోల్డర్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకోండి. దిస్ ఈస్ ఫర్ వన్ www రూట్ ఫర్ వన్ యాప్. ఇంకొక యాప్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకోండి, ఇంకొక నేమ్ పెట్టేసి ఇంకొక యాప్ డిప్లాయ్ చేయండి.
www root
మీ ఇష్టం ఏదైనా పెట్టండి, ఇటులో అండ్ ట్రై. ఇక్కడ మీకు VM లెవెల్లో ఏమి ఇష్యూస్ రావు. లోడ్ బ్యాలెన్సర్ లో మీరు ఎలా కాన్ఫిగర్ చేస్తారు, యూ హ్యావ్ టు థింక్ అబౌట్ ఇట్. ఓకే, క్లియర్? సో ఎనీ డౌట్స్ ఆర్ ఎనీ కన్సర్న్స్?
అన్న మనం కోడ్ డిప్లాయ్ చేస్తే అన్న అప్లికేషన్ కోడ్ అది వెబ్ యాప్ అవుతుందా, యాప్ సర్వర్ అవుతుందా, వెబ్ సర్వర్ అవుతుందా?
App server is different, code is deployed into somewhere. App server is a different, web server is a different. Web server is always to the end user, that is in a public. App server ki eppudu public అయిపోయి ఉండదు. That is for your internal purpose, where you are storing your application data.
Okay.
Very simple. Wherever, whatever code it is, so why do we need to put our application code into the public? అవసరమే ఉంది. లాజిక్ ఆలోచించండి, అవసరమే ఉంది. మన వెబ్ ఒకటే కదా పబ్లిక్ ఎందుకు ఉండాలి? సో మేబీ యు ఆర్ యూజింగ్ ద లెగసీ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్, అంటే అప్పుడెప్పుడు క్రియేట్ చేసి అలా పెట్టేసి ఉండొచ్చు. మైట్ బి దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ ఐఎమ్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్. మనం నిన్న లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ ఎంటైర్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ చూసాం. మేబీ యువర్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ మేబీ మోనోలిథిక్, అలా ఉండొచ్చు అంతే. దట్స్ నాట్ ఎన్ రాంగ్, బట్ అంటే అప్పుడు ఎప్పుడో డిఫైన్ చేయడం వల్ల అలా ఉండిపోయి ఉంటుంది అంతే.
ఇప్పుడు
అదే
ఆర్కెల్ మాత్రం ఈఆర్కి సపరేట్ ఉంటుంది, వెబ్లో
Separate.
ఉంటుంది. ఆర్కెల్ డేటాబేస్ అండ్ SQL సర్వర్ ఇలా ఉంది.
ఈఆర్ అంటే ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ అంటున్నారు.
సార్ వాళ్ళు ఆర్కెల్ జావా అయితే వాళ్ళు ఒక EXE సంథింగ్ దేవ్ చేస్తారు, చేసి సపరేట్ సర్వర్లో అది ఉంటుంది. వెబ్ సర్వర్ మళ్ళీ సపరేట్, 3 లేయర్స్ ఉంటాయి.
3 layers కావాలి.
రిలీజ్ అనేది ఉండేది,
డెవలప్స్ వచ్చింది అంతే. అందుకోసం అలా పెట్టేవాళ్ళు. ఇప్పుడైనా కూడా ఎవ్రీ వన్ మస్ట్ ఫాలో ద ఎంటైర్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్, దట్ ఈస్ ద ఇండస్ట్రీ స్టాండర్డ్. మోనోలిథిక్ ఎవరు వాడట్లేదు. సో మోనోలిథిక్ ఓన్లీ గోస్ ఫర్ ఏపీఐస్ అంతే. ఓకే, so tomorrow we'll talk about different load balancers. So here one question: what is the status of this VM? Running. What is this? Stopped, right? So sometimes you could see only stopped. Now my question is, what is the difference between stopped and deallocated? Stop. What is the difference between these two? Check cheyandi. This is the two things for your work. Okay.
అంటే బోత్ ఆప్షన్స్ వస్తాయి. స్టాప్డ్ అండ్ డీఅలోకేటెడ్. ఇప్పుడు
డీఅలోకేటెడ్ లో ఉంది. And which scenario it goes to stop? What is the difference between them? Okay. Thank you.